This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Friday, June 17th. I'm Charity Brown. Mark Philman on holidays this week. Due to return on Monday, though he's had a pretty good week. Maybe he will, maybe he won't be back. Maybe he'll take more time off now that he's got a little bit, this taste of summer this week, although summer doesn't officially arrive until next week. But just a great week, with the exception of yesterday. Yesterday we had some wild weather roll through the area. It's interesting because where we are, we're about a half hour north of Belleville. Really, it takes me about 40 minutes to get to work. But geographically, I'll say 30 minutes north of Belleville. And we got the warning yesterday afternoon. So a tornado warning came down just before 3 yesterday afternoon. And much like an Amber Alert, of course, it came through the phones and on the TV. So the alarm went off and made us aware. And I had been watching the skies because I had seen the forecast for yesterday saying that we were going to be in for some very high winds. But the tornado mentions were really made more for the Ottawa area, not so much this area. But as the day progressed, we got a tornado warning. And the skies were gray and clearly a storm was coming. But thankfully where we were, a lot of rain and wind, but not nearly what we experienced, 3 or 4 weeks prior, where buildings were knocked down, barns came down, trees were uprooted. Really quite a storm a few weeks ago. Didn't get that, but I watched, and I will share as well the kids, because we weren't the only ones to get the warnings, but of course the schools did too. So my kids were home on time. They were a little shook up. My youngest especially, quite upset as soon as he saw me when he got off the bus, broke into tears. He had been quite worried. And thankfully his teacher, I commend the teachers because they tried their hardest. They did their best to reassure them. But in other cases, I know children were kept at school because of the timing of it. It was right as the schools were breaking. So some kids were kept at school, which is very scary, not only for them, but for parents as well. So they were delayed going home. And even where we were, where we did not get the brunt of it as we did here in Belleville, which I'll touch on in a minute, it was quite harrowing. Very interesting to go through that because it is quite new for this area, this kind of weather. So we were okay. We got off quite lucky. Here in Belleville, I know a different story because shortly after, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous too. I was quite happy to see my kids home and safe off the bus. But here in Belleville, it was much worse. Started to see pictures and video of the weather as it passed through the city of Belleville specifically. I know other areas around Belleville were hit as well. But again, it was almost like it flipped from 4 weeks ago where we got the brunt of it and Trenton, Belleville, Quinte West got very little. This time around, we got very little, but Belleville really got the brunt of it. So trees were being uprooted. Solar panels from the top of buildings, I saw that at an apartment over on Herkimer, was down in the parking lot. Debris everywhere, power lines down. And again, it came through just as the school day was ending for many children. That was one of the things that came out of this morning, I found. And it really hadn't occurred to me that I guess much like when there's a fire or another emergency within the school, I think procedures need to be looked at a little better because apparently some kids had just made it inside before the storm hit. They were trying to get them home. They were trying to get them to safety. We're not used to this weather. I think that's the bottom line. It's shifted, as we all know, and I was talking to a colleague this morning about this because she used to live down around Kitchener, where in the last 10, maybe even 15, maybe even longer, but extreme weather is kind of the norm, she said. They're used to tornado watches. They're used to hailstorms and torrential rain in that area of the province. And now it has shifted in the last couple of years. Storms are getting more intense, I find, in this area, and we're just not used to it. A few weeks ago, I shared with you as well Environment Canada's predictions for this summer. And they too said it's going to be both stormy and hot. And we had that yesterday. You'd think there'd be some relief after the storm. It seemed to get hotter after the rain passed through. But for June, July, and August, Most of Canada will see near normal or above normal temperatures. And for Ontario specifically, it'll be very warm and humid with leading to quite a few storms through the next few months. So this may be just the beginning. I hate to say it. I love a good thunderstorm. I do. When you're safe and cozy at home, there's nothing quite like it. And so yesterday, it was very interesting to watch. At no point did I ever feel that there was going to be any damage caused. So I was lucky. But here in Belleville, a much different story. And thank you to everybody who did share the pictures and the videos. Mother Nature, there's no question, a force to be reckoned with. It is incredible. And that was just a few moments yesterday. Thankfully, everybody was safe and sound. Didn't hear of any injuries. As I said, it did cause some power outages here in the city, of course. And even this morning when we came in, still quite a few areas in and around Belleville without power, intersections, parts of the city that were blocked off from the trees and debris. And Mayor Mitch Panchuk issued a statement late last night, just thanking everybody for working together, coming together, helping each other out, your neighbors and neighborhoods, as well as municipal workers who were called in to do an extra shift overnight to help clear the debris and start working on the trees, which will continue, of course, and we all need to be patient over the coming days, but still some delays, and you might be rerouted through different areas, coming to intersections where there's a four-way stop as opposed to the lights actually working until the power is back up. But very interesting. Even some of the kids stayed home today because the schools weren't open yet because of the power outages, which might not be a bad thing. So it will be interesting to see what comes of that as well. If procedures will be changed, protocols put in place to better be prepared. But it did kind of come at a very awkward time as kids were heading home and people heading home from work. So hopefully you were safe and not too much damaged around you. But that's the topic today. Everybody's talking about the storm yesterday and this crazy weather that is expected to continue throughout the summer. It's hard not to talk about. It's hard not to be just fascinated by it. It is pretty awesome. The damage, not so much, but it's pretty cool when it reminds us what it can do. It is the Friday of Father's Day weekend, heading into a really great weekend otherwise, weather-wise, now that the storm has passed, nothing but sunny skies. So Dad should have a great day on Sunday. We're giving away a $200 gift card to Burger Revolution with a dad joke, no less. We love dad jokes on 95.5 Hits FM. Every Friday we have a dad joke with Galaxy of Games. So we did that this morning, and your chance to, again, win that gift certificate to Burger Rev by sharing your favorite dad joke through our website. That will continue through the weekend. In fact, Monday morning, we'll make the grand prize draw for that gift certificate. So you still have time if you want to nominate your dad to go to our website at 955hitsfm.ca. Share your favorite dad joke. You can like some of ours. We would love to hear a new one, though. We would. So we can play it next Friday when Mark returns. It's been a fun week on my own. I am looking forward to Mark's return on Monday, but I will say it's always nice to sit in the driver's seat for a little while, not permanently, but for a little while. It is kind of fun, and to reacquaint myself with the buttons, because he does look after all of that when he's here. But looking forward to Mark's return on Monday. So Monday it will be Mark and Charity Mornings, but also the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. Happy Father's Day to all the dads this weekend. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back at it on Monday. Thanks so much for listening to the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast.